Hi, and welcome to Danielle's Denture Diaries. I am Danielle, and today I'm going to be talking about a couple different things. Really, I just wanted to jump on here. I was extra in the mood to post another video and got kind of anxious, so this may even end up turning into me just rambling, but let's go. So, since I got my adjustment where we shaved off quite a bit, actually, when I watched the pieces of acrylic fall to the ground, I was kind of like, okay, that was a lot. Hopefully this is good, and it ended up being so amazing. For those of you who didn't watch my most recent video, I ended up actually having a visible cut or tear or something that my dentist saw, and he was able to put his finger on the cut and was like, "Is that where it hurts?" And I was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "I can tell that must really hurt." So anyway, so since I got it shaved, I am on cloud 9. As you can see, I am wearing my bottom dentures yet again, so I'm super excited because I'm so comfortable now wearing it that when I, was just talking to my boyfriend the other night, I ended up falling asleep, and I fell asleep with my bottom denture in. So I think that says a lot in itself. So the biggest takeaway there is going to be, if you need an adjustment done, if you're uncomfortable, please do not hesitate to schedule that follow-up appointment with your dentist and have them make those adjustments, because you really do have no idea how the smallest things, and in my case it looked like a really big adjustment, but those changes and adjustments really do add up, and it makes the difference between being super, super comfortable and being able to wear your teeth, your new fangs, or not. So, and outside of just falling asleep in my teeth is also chewing. So in my thumbnail on this video I'm holding up, I swear it's a brownie in a muffin paper. My son and I love baking, so we make brownies, and something that I've always kind of had an issue with was always cutting them and making them like a good size, and I never really care for the edges or the corners of brownies. Apparently there's two kinds of people. There's people who live for the corners and edges, and people like me who would rather have the dead center piece and no other piece. And if I don't get that one piece, I guess I don't get a brownie. So that was always me. Plus, when you have a toddler, I like having a smaller size of snack for him to have on hand. So this is really efficient. The point is, this was the first thing, not physically this one, but this is the first thing I bit into with my adjustment and chewed and didn't even really have to think about it. I did flinch because I was worried it was going to hurt, because I'm so used to being in pain over there, but no pain. I was able to chew. I still tend to eat to my right side, and that's something that I've had since with my crowns. So for those of you who haven't, go back and watch my videos where I talk about what it was like to live with my crowns and the way that they had started falling out back there. So I would stay away from that side of my mouth completely. I would only chew on my right side anyway, so I'm going to have to break that habit, or at least I want to. But that was kind of the first thing I could bite into and comfortably chew. For dinner tonight, I made tilapia, which I'm going to start switching off from tilapia and go more to like the salmon is a cleaner fish to eat, at least from what I hear. So anyways, I made fish, I baked it for 14 minutes with jasmine rice under it and some peas. That was something that was very easy for me to kind of see what it's like to open my mouth with my bottom denture in, with the intention of eating. Maybe you guys are experiencing the same kind of discomfort or things as me, I don't know, but typically when I go to open my mouth bigger to anticipate eating, my bottom denture would flip, it'd move, and then the whole time I'm trying to figure out where my food is in my mouth and where it's going and what to do and what needs to be chewed more, and then finally eaten, my denture was all over, it was hurting, it was painful, so I did that, and that was actually a very good it was a very good hearty meal to have for me, and I felt very comfortable with eating. No rice got under my denture or anything like that. I was able to even actually push my tongue down to the sides of my mouth, which I wasn't able to do before because it was either so painful here or it would move. That's not the case apparently. So, a couple really big wins. And then another thing I wanted to talk about is, do people notice that I have dentures? And do people ask? Do people bring it up or anything like that? And the fact of the matter is that you will never actually know what people are thinking. Even if people do believe you are wearing dentures, most people are not going to say anything. And I feel like it almost ties in with people that would say, "Hey, have you had some work done?" I don't foresee people actually doing that. If anything, people are going to compliment you and say, "Wow, your teeth are beautiful," or "Hey, you have a really nice smile." And from there, you can make your own decision. Do I want to go along with it? Like, yeah, thanks. I use Sensodyne. I don't know. Thanks, I've never had braces in my life. Can you believe it? I don't know. Or for myself, considering what I do for a living and the fact that I have a 3-year-old, for me ties a personal part into why I am so transparent and open to telling people I have dentures. A big reason is actually you guys. If I want other people on this planet to feel empowered by the fact that they themselves wear dentures, why wouldn't I be proud myself? And I am. It took so much courage and a lot of time for me to finally get to where I am. And now that I have them, they're beautiful. I wear them, I talk with them, I function with them. They are now my teeth, and I'm proud to have them, and I don't mind saying that they just might be man-made. But as far as people actually noticing and saying anything, no one has outright come out to me so far in the 4 months that I've had dentures. No one has come out and said, "Oh, you wear dentures." I have gotten compliments, and initially people could tell that I was a little more tight-lipped. I was less expressive. And I think if anything, people noticed a personality change, and it was because I was physically in pain, so I wasn't as energetic and enthusiastic as I am now. So people would feel that. And there was also the matter of a lisp, which people have lisps. There are people who have a lisp and it has nothing to do with dentures or anything like that. They just have a lisp. And even my work, it took me a few times that I would say, "Oh my gosh," and they're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, my lisp, it's driving me crazy. And they're like, "What lisp? We can't hear it." And then finally my director was like, you know what, I think I hear it now, and it's actually really cute. But anyways, anyway, I love her. But I have had people compliment that I have a nice smile, and if I'm in a hurry or if they're simply just passing by, I'll say thank you and I kind of let it go. Like I said in my most recent video, there was a gentleman who mentioned his wife's teeth, and you know, the whole fact of the matter of getting older and whatnot. And I was, in an effort to make a point, I told him, I was like, dentures are actually a lot more common than I think you and your wife might think. And it's actually so much better quality of life to have them, especially if she does already have issues and a pre-existing condition. As a matter of fact, I wear dentures, and age has nothing to do with it. And he was like, really? So if anything, I think once I do tell people, there is the initial kind of shock, but I think people then try to reel that shock back because they don't want to offend, I think. Obviously, without coming forthright and saying, hey, did you know I wear dentures? Have you noticed? People just assume you have a very nice smile and you take very good care of your teeth. Maybe you have a lot of money, so maybe you have had work done, but again, to me, that's still the equivalent of walking up to somebody and saying, hey, did you get work done? Whether it be a Botox or a facelift, hair plugs, right? A breast augmentation, a butt lift, or whatever. I mean, I don't think people actually ever come out and say that or ask that. I'd be surprised if they do. I certainly wouldn't have the courage to say something like that. Whether or not you've had work done to me is none of my business. If I think you look gorgeous today, hey, you look gorgeous today. And that's all that matters. And as long as you feel good, who cares? Who cares? Which also ties into the person that left the comment about getting lip injections and lip fillers. Go get your lip fillers. Treat yourself. A lot of people that get dentures get lip fillers. Or another thing too that I didn't think of until after I had already responded to your comment is they'll actually get their teeth adjusted to have more lip support. That's what it was. So kind of pushing your lips back out again. I don't know if some people might mistake that for the horse mouth sensation that they've had, but it's worth looking into. If it means you don't have to keep refilling your lips with anything, I would just look into all the options, but I do know that that's a concern for everybody. For me personally, I just overline just barely the outside of my lip. I've always had naturally, I wouldn't say plump, but I would say a good shape lip. So I would outline it with a lip liner, and then I use a matte lipstick, Maybelline Superstay Matte Ink, and that tends to kind of give me that extra nice look that I actually enjoy, and then I'll put some chapstick over it. But yeah, no one's actually come out and noticed. My boyfriend that I'm with, he doesn't notice if I go without my bottom denture or not. He has said, I think you're wearing it right now. And I wasn't, so I said, no, I'm not. I'm just wearing my top right now because my bottom hurt at the time. Otherwise, yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's about all I really wanted to talk about. Wow, only 15 minutes? What? There it is, 15 minutes. um, but nobody, oh, okay. But nobody comes out and says, oh, you have dentures or anything like that. And I think there's a couple factors that might come into play with it. One is that if your teeth shape and shade don't match what your age is, and I'm doing this because to me that means nothing still, but apparently that's just how some people think. Once you get to a certain age, your teeth shouldn't be so white. But personally, I feel like with all of the dental work people get nowadays, all the treatments, all the surgery people can have, the veneers and everything else like that happen in Hollywood, you can be any age and have gorgeous teeth. So to me, it's irrelevant. To other people, maybe that's what they would be perceiving. So I guess just find your ground and where you would stand on that. For me personally, like I said, if you feel good and you look good, who cares? I don't care how you got there. It's the fact that you're happy and you're healthy. So, you know, I think another factor is to do with your comfort level with wearing them. I made a point that I was not going to not wear my denture. And the biggest reason is because I work in sales at a gym, and I have to be able to talk to people with confidence and ease and be able to articulate my own thoughts and feelings. The gym is already a very vulnerable place to go and be, and it's where people expose parts of themselves that they had been working on for years, or maybe they've always worried about it and they were too scared to ask for help. So if I'm going to advocate for someone else's health, I want to be able to speak well and be confident when I speak. So I've always been one to enunciate my words, and I didn't want dentures to stop me from being able to do that. So working on things like my S's and slowing down when I talk was a very big one too. I remember going back in my older videos, I talk very quickly, naturally, especially if I'm excited. The Floridian in me wants to always talk slow, but when I'm happy and I'm excited or I love what I'm talking about, I tend to talk very fast. So with dentures, I will stop like I just did and not just gather my thoughts, but kind of resituate just a little bit and kind of reset with everything in my mouth. And no one really notices a difference with that either. I think people just believe that is how I talk, and no one's going to question how you talk either. If you have a lisp, okay, people have lisps. If you talk slower, some people talk slow. I'm from Florida, and I'm not ashamed to say that people that I know personally, my own dad especially, would talk really, really slow. And that's okay. If you take pauses to swallow your extra saliva or whatever, again, no one's going to know the difference unless they knew you for a very long time. And if they did know you a very long time, they're going to know the difference between what your quality of life was before and how much better off you are now that you have dentures if you confided in them with that. And hopefully they're just a very good and supportive person for you like you deserve. Like I said, I've lucked out so far with my circle. I have one best friend, and she'll ask sometimes like, hey, how are you feeling? Are you adjusting? You sound good. yeah, I can hear a little bit of a lisp, but it's okay. Like, why wouldn't you have a lisp and that kind of stuff. So very sweet, very compassionate. And then when it came to talking to my boyfriend, I felt out what kind of a person he was first to begin with before I ever told him I have dentures. But when I first brought up the question of prosthetics, and I asked him, I was like, how would you feel about dating someone with a prosthetic? And he sat there really confused for a minute, like, I looked at your pictures on the app, and I don't think you have a prosthetic leg or an arm or anything. Like, that's a really strange question to ask. And I was like, well, so again, if that tells you anything too, he didn't know that it would be anything to do with my teeth. He was thinking like my leg, my arm. And I was like, nope, it's none of those. And I was like, but I want to know your overall feeling. Like, what would you think? And he was like, well, it wouldn't care. I'm not with you for that. I would want to be with you because I love your heart and I love the way you talk and think and how you act and, you know, how sweet you are and all those other things, all the other good things. But it has nothing to do with those external factors. And when I finally did tell him that it was my dentures, he was like, oh, are they snap-ins or no? And I was like, no, they're not snap-ins. And he was like, oh, okay. Well, you have a beautiful smile. So, anyway, for anyone that is worried about are people going to notice or anything like that, again, like I said, maybe just decide, are you one of those who thinks as though for my age, my teeth shape and shade should match my age? Or are you one who, regardless of what it looks like, it's the fact that it's better for me, and I don't really care what anyone else thinks anyway. If you're like me and you don't care what anyone else thinks anyway, that just makes it a little bit easier. If you are one of those who tends to eyeball things a little differently, maybe you pay more attention to the detail of people and their faces and stuff, you know, everyone's different. Some people have an eye for that. So maybe it would do better to kind of think on maybe not necessarily what your teeth do look like right now, but what they would look like and be realistic to it. Again, everyone's different. I don't mind a Hollywood smile, not on me, not on the next person. Personally, I just love everyone's faces and teeth now, and I just have so much more. I've always had compassion and empathy with people who were in a situation like mine, and now for me, I just have nothing but respect, because it takes a lot of courage to make more decisions on top of what you're already dealing with, and to be able to somehow shoulder everything you're dealing with is just a very heavy thing. If I could, I would reach through this computer screen right now and lift that off of your shoulders for you, or at least carry some of it with you. But, you know, ultimately at the end of the day, all of this is going to be your decision, what's going to be best for you, what is best for you. But regardless, you're gorgeous. So I hope that you are having an amazing night or day, wherever you're at right now. If you like videos like this one, go ahead and hit that like button. If you have any other additional thoughts on things that I could be talking about, just go ahead and leave a comment. If you have additional thoughts and feelings anyways towards what I'm talking about, go ahead and comment. I love seeing everyone's feedback here. And if you would like to see more videos from me in the future, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.